In the heart of the Edira land, under the radiant sun and tall Iroko trees, stand two clans. They are divided by age-old grudges and have bitter history. They hate themselves and they do not allow intermarriage activities between each other, and it has remained so for 100 generations, even though none of them know exactly why there's this grudge. They just have to follow tradition. Ikenna, a skilled hunter with a fierce spirit, is the pride of his family's name. He is a man of strength and courage. He is feared and loved by all, because he is gentle and kind and also a great hunter, but beneath all that hardened exterior lies a heart yearning for love and peace. Ada, the healer's daughter, has the soul of a goddess, with a touch that mends the deepest wounds and a heart that is as kind as it is courageous. She has inherited her mother's gift of healing and is beloved for her wisdom and strength. Her beauty, however, has caught the eye of many, including men of her own clan, who watch her with jealousy and suspicion. One fateful evening, in a forest scattered with tall Iroko trees, Ikenna went to hunt as usual. He had tracked the animal, and had positioned to kill with the spear in his hands, but suddenly he hears a soft chant. He could hear someone singing, but who could it be? He said to himself. He was captivated by this tune that he abandoned his hunting to check out where this soft voice was coming from. He walks through the fogs and comes to a stand where he sighted a young woman with healing herbs in her hands, singing to herself by a small river stream. He hid behind the trees to watch her. Her beauty was blinding, as he hasn't seen a woman with such beauty before. He then proceeded to walk up to her, to compliment her, but as he got closer, he realized that she was indeed an epitome of beauty, as her skin shined through the evening sun. When Ada saw him, she blushed, as she saw a handsome man, who looked like he was carved by the gods himself. She smiled because she had seen him watching her from afar. Then she asked him why he took so long to come talk to her. They spoke all through till nightfall, as it was love at first sight. Then Ikenna begged that they should see the next day, and Ada agreed. The following day they meet under a full moon, by the river. They sat at the river bank and talked. The air was thick with tension. They were drawn to each other in a manner that they couldn't explain. The love felt magical. As they were helpless against the connection they had, it felt like they were lovers from a past life. Ada whispered to Ikenna, "They say a healer's touch cures all things, yet, I don't think even my hands can soothe this longing." And he responded, "Then let my heart speak louder than blood. These feelings I'm having is beyond my imaginations. I've fallen hopelessly in love with you, Ada, and our love will blossom into something beautiful, I promise you." She giggles and they kissed. But immediately the river water splashed as if disturbed by unseen forces. It scared them, so they got up and left. Meanwhile, Ikenna's cousin, Okoro, who hates his guts and has always been envious of him. He secretly follows him, hoping to find a weakness in the hunter's reputation. Then that evening he stumbles on Ikenna and Ada talking in the forest. Okoro has always had eyes for Ada, but he never approached her or spoke to her. He was loving her from afar, waiting for the day he will find the courage to talk to her. So when he saw his cousin with her, it shocks him. His anger grows as he watches them both in their forbidden embrace. His mind races with anger and jealousy. Then he thought of a plan that would destroy their love and make the lovers miserable. He then followed Ikenna the next day, where he and Ada met under the moonlight. Okoro patiently waited for the lovers to kiss, and then he folded his tata charm and caused the rivers to splash. He saw the reaction it had on them, and then he set his main plan in motion. Okoro returned to the village, and told the clans that Ikenna and Ada from the rival clan are defying their tradition and disobeying their long-age rules of not associating with the other clan. Then he began to spread rumors that he watched them kiss, and when they did, the sacred river itself rejected their union and waters played violently on them. He claimed that they have defied the gods and will bring a curse upon the village if their love isn't stopped. Few days later, after Okoro spread the rumors, the river dried up. The villagers took the lovers to the oracle's house for her to lift the curse the lovers have brought upon the village. The oracle's hut is dimly lit, with shadows of flickering flames dancing across its walls. Tribal markings, charms, and ancient artifacts line the room. The air is tense, the low sound of distant thunder adding to the fear. Ikenna and Ada kneel before the oracle, with worried faces. The villagers are gathered outside, their murmurs filter into the hut. The oracle spoke, her voice calm yet uncertain, her staff resting lightly against the ground. She echoed. The gods have been silent. She pauses, her gaze distant, as though searching for answers beyond the veil. They have shown me no signs of anger, no omens of their discontent. And yet the waters rippled violently when your lips touched and dried up. Ada's eyes widen as she looks at Ikenna. You could see the confusion on her face. She says to the oracle in a trembling voice. But, wise one, if it is not a curse, then what could it mean? Surely the gods would not remain silent if we had done wrong. Then the oracle moves closer, the beads in her hair softly clinking as she tilts her head toward the fire. She speaks, half to herself, half to them. In a low voice she says to Ada. That is the mystery, child. When the gods are displeased, they roar with thunder and strike with vengeance. But this was no act of wrath. She narrows her eyes, as she recalls something. She then said. The waters rippled, yes, but not with rage. It was as though they were disturbed by something unnatural. Ikenna clenches his fist, leaning forward with a mix of frustration and fear. He said. Then what, if not the gods, could cause such a thing? Could it be a mistake? A force of nature? Or a trick played by someone with dark intentions? The oracle's gaze snaps and says in a sharp tone. The gods do not make mistakes, Ikenna, but men often do. Ada's hands fly to her chest, her breath shaking. A trick. Are you saying someone caused this? But why? For what purpose? Replied Ada. Then the oracle straightens, her posture gripping her staff tightly. Her voice lowers, filled with both caution and curiosity. She responds to Ada. The question is not why, but how? If the gods remain silent, yet the water dried up unnaturally, then it is not their will at work. She glances back toward the fire, her eyes narrowing as if searching its flames for answers. It is possible that someone has tampered with the balance. A hand unseen, moving the fates as it pleases. The murmurs from outside grew louder, and the oracle steps to the doorway, addressing the villagers with a calm but commanding tone. People of Idira. She echoed, the gods have spoken nothing of curses or wrath. Their silence is a puzzle, one that cannot be ignored. If the water stirred unnaturally and dried up, it means that balance has been disturbed by other means. The villagers exchange uneasy glances. Okoro, standing at the edge of the crowd, shifts uncomfortably, his jaw tightening as if struggling to remain composed. A villager responds. Then what caused it, wise one? Surely the gods would not allow such chaos without reason. The oracle spoke, raising her staff for silence. I do not know, yet. But let no one assume guilt where the gods have declared none. The answer lies not with them, but with us. Until it is found, I urge caution and vigilance. Inside the hut, Ada looks to Ikenna, her voice trembling with desperation. What if someone is behind this? What if someone wants to keep us apart? Said Ada. Ikenna, gently taking her hands. Then we will uncover the truth, Ada. Together. No shadow, no deceit will keep us from what the gods themselves have not denied. The oracle re-enters, her heart, her tone softer but still weighted with caution. She said to the couples, "Be wary, both of you. Love is a powerful force, but it can breed envy in hearts that cannot bear to see it flourish. If someone has tampered with your faith, they will not stop here." Her eyes looks briefly to the door, her voice lowering. And the one who plays with destiny often finds themselves consumed by it. Ikenna paces in his family's hut, sad and visibly weighed down by his father's talks. His father, Chief Obiora, stands with arms crossed, sternly confronting him. His father said, "Do you know what you have done, Ikenna? You defy our ancestors, our traditions, choosing to shame our family for a common healer's daughter." Ikenna responded in an angry tone, "It is not shame that I have brought, father." The oracle herself said the gods have shown her no sign. For all we know, someone or something else could be behind what happened and not the doing of the gods. Love is not a curse. Love. Is that what you call it? Said his father. You are blinded by foolishness. The oracle herself isn't even sure of what is going on, and yet instead of you to leave that girl alone, you're confronting your father. He called out, "You want to bring ruin to our door." Ikenna then responded, "If love is ruin, then let it be my ruin alone. I will not abandon her. We have both done nothing wrong. Why are you against my happiness, father?" He then storms out, ignoring his father's demands. He steps outside. As he walks, the villagers whisper and stare at him, but he walks with purpose, heading toward the healer's hut, determined to see Ada, despite the risks involved. Ikenna arrives at the hut, where Ada waits. They share a tense embrace, knowing each meeting grows more dangerous. Ada's eyes are filled with worry, but Ikenna holds her face gently, reassuring her. She, softly, said to Ikenna, "My father speaks of the curse even as the oracle said there isn't. He talks as if it were upon us already. The villagers fear us. I hear them whisper when I pass." Ikenna responded, "Let them whisper. Let them fear. It is not their hearts we answer to." Then she said, what if there really is a curse? Let it fall upon me, Ada. I would bear 100 curses if it meant standing by your side." She places her hand on his cheek, tears rolling from her eyes. "You would defy your family, your kin, all for me. For you, my love, I would face every spirit and shadow that haunts this land." They share a kiss, a vow in itself, each prepared to face the wrath of their people for the sake of their love. Several days later, as the drought worsened, Okoro gathered the villagers as they stormed, calling for Ikenna and Ada to answer for the turmoil they brought upon them, disregarding the oracle's revelations. Ikenna, fearlessly, steps forward with Ada at his side, standing against the crowd. One villager said, "Why must we suffer for your foolishness? Our crops wither, as the rivers are all dried up. Is this not proof enough?" Ikenna replied, "What you call a curse is merely fear. It is fear that blinds you all." Okoro mockingly responded, "Is that what you believe, cousin? That love is worth the suffering of your people? Perhaps you are not the hunter you claim to be, but a coward who hides behind sweet words." Ikenna clenches his fist, restraining his anger, but Ada steps forward, facing the crowd with quiet strength. Ada addressed the crowd, "If there is a curse, then it is upon us, not you. But if you wish to punish us for love, then know that hatred brings curses far more dangerous than any love." Then another villager replied, "How dare you, a mere healer's daughter, talk to us like that after you defy the tradition?" Ikenna, firmly, said, "Enough. If you wish to cast us out, then do so." The villagers hesitate, torn between fear and sympathy. But Okoro steps forward with an evil smile and said, "Then let it be exile. Let them face the curse beyond our lands and spare us all." The crowd murmurs in agreement, driven by fear as they demand for Ikenna and Ada to be exiled. As night falls, Ikenna and Ada prepare to leave the village. Ada's father approaches her, sorrowful with tears in his eyes. He hands her a small pouch filled with healing herbs and charms for protection. His voice shaking as he says, "My daughter, I do not agree with this fate, but I cannot change the will of the village. Take these. They are all I have left to give you." Ada replied tearfully, "Father, I only wish you could see that this is not the end. We are being cast out for something we had nothing to do with. Even my friends have forsaken me, but the gods will fight this fight for us. Take care of yourself for me, Father." Her father said, "Be safe, my child, for the God sees and knows all, and in due time the evil deeds done will come to light, but for now, go, before the villagers harm you." Ikenna stands beside her, watching silently as her father steps back, sorrow and regret in his eyes. The lovers, burdened but united, leave the village behind, venturing into the night with only each other to hold on to. As dawn breaks, Okoro laughs in his victory. He stands in front of a group of villagers, congratulating and hailing himself for saving them from the cursed lovers, but the oracle emerges from behind, her gaze piercing and grave. She whispered to him, "You celebrate too soon, Okoro. You think you have succeeded in your evil plot. The gods have shown me everything you conspired. Go and confess before it's too late, for you have awakened the spirit of vengeance upon yourself." Okoro responded with anger, "What spirit are you talking about, old woman? I have saved this village from ruin." She replied, "Your jealousy and deceit have done more harm than any love could. Remember, when one soul falls, another will rise to seek justice. Mark my words, what you have sown, Okoro, you shall reap," and then she vanishes. Okoro's happiness fades as the oracle's words settle in, the weight of his actions began to sink in. For the first time, he looks scared, haunted by her warning. Ikenna and Ada, now exiled, reach a clearing in the forest, where they make camp for the night. The fire burns, casting warm light on their sad faces as they sit side by side, looking at the stars, wondering if this is their new life. How did this become of us? Who did we hurt or offend that would lead them to being outcast from their own home? Ada whispered, "I never imagined we would leave everything behind, like this." He replied, "And yet, I feel free. Here, with you, I have no family ties or curses to bind me. Only you." Ada leans into him and said, "Then let us build something new. A life without hate or fear, where only love remains." He smiles softly, "A new beginning, just you and I. No matter what we face, I will always protect you. I have nothing to fear. I know the gods do not sleep, and if truly this is their will for us, then let it be." They both sit in silence, hopeful yet worried as their love the only light against the shadows around them. Okoro stands feeling anxious in his heart. The oracle's warnings keeps ringing in his head. His once pride and arrogance is now replaced with fear. He holds the small Tata charm which he used to manipulate the river. He shakes it, hoping this time around it works, as he has been trying for months to reverse the drought it caused in the village. He then takes up another charm he intends to use to chase away any curse or evil spirits he mistakenly awakened. He spoke to himself. It was supposed to be ikenna. I did everything to rid him from my life, to gain the respect and love that should be mine. Now the oracle speaks of spirits. What spirit could I have awakened? He muttered. Suddenly, shadows start appearing along the walls, and he hears whispers echoing around him. He runs out of his hut, hoping to escape the invisible forces chasing after him. Several months pass. The elders gather in the village square discussing the recent troubling signs of misfortune, failed crops, unusual sicknesses, and families haunted by strange dreams and evil spirits. Chief Obiora, Ikenna's father, stands among them, his face pale as he recalls what the oracle said to them. He spoke thoughtfully. The oracle spoke of an unnatural balance that was caused by someone, and yet, you people, gathered and exiled my son, and now you have come to the realization that the both of them were not the cause. I see now that you all joined hands and cast out the innocent and allowed fear and envy to thrive among us. One elder responded, nodding his head, and said Okoro ignited everything. He called for their exile and we foolishly listened to him, thinking he was right. We tried going to his hut many times, but he has been avoiding seeing us and no one knows why. Okoro has brought misfortune upon us all in disguise of saving us. It is time we all go together to look for him and confront him. The elders exchanged determined glances, realizing that they need to put an end to Okoro's manipulations. Several weeks pass. Okoro turns and stumbles through the forest, with desperation on his face. He arrives at the oracle's hut, seeking her help, but the oracle stands outside, watching him with piercing, unreadable eyes. She raises her hand, stopping him from entering her hut. She spoke to him in a cold voice, "You come to me now, Okoro. After you have cast curses upon innocent hearts and deceived the village. The gods told me to warn you, to confess that you planned everything, that you made the water dry up, and you couldn't reverse it. But your wicked heart did not let you. Because of you, the gods are angry at the villagers and has come for vengeance, for those 2 innocent souls you punished, because of envy. Now you're carrying the curse you wished upon your own cousin. Okoro, pleading, please, help me. The curse, it was never supposed to be mine." The oracle yelled at him, saying, "The curse belongs to those who call it forth through jealousy and betrayal. You have sealed your own fate, Okoro." Okoro's face twists in terror as he realizes there is no escaping his punishment. The ground beneath him shakes, and he kneels to the ground, his body overcome by the shadows he once tried to run from. The oracle watches as he runs, and the darkness consumes him, his spirit forever bound by the curse he invoked. The village chiefs sent words around to neighboring clans and villages searching for Ikenna and Ada, because only their presence could revoke the calamity that had befallen them. After several weeks of searching to no avail, Ada heard from one farmer that the people of Idira are in a dilemma as they are looking for 2 young couples they exiled unjustly. Ada heard this and ran to meet Ikenna where he was chopping firewood. She ran happily like a child and told him all she just heard. Ikenna did not seem pleased. He looked at her and said, "Why do you rejoice, Ada? These people treated us like an enemy. They didn't care if we died in the forest. They are now only looking for us because Machi, the god of justice, is fighting against them." She held his face with tears in her eyes and said, "Yes, I know they have wronged us. We were casted out, but my love, remember, we do not pay evil for evil. and they are our people no matter what. Your cousin orchestrated the whole thing, let's not punish them for it. Please my love, let us return home. He then nodded in agreement as they hugged and packed to start leaving. They returned to their village. When the villagers sighted them from afar, they were welcomed back, and surrounded by men, women and children who look upon them with respect and admiration. Chief Obiora steps forward, humbled and remorseful. In a soft voice said, "Ikenna, my son. I wronged you. I let fear and pride cloud my judgment. Can you forgive an old man who was blind to your truth?" Ikenna responded, smiling, placing a hand on his father's shoulder. "Father, love has shown me forgiveness. I hold no anger for what has passed. I am only grateful to return to my people." The villagers applaud as Ada's father steps forward, smiling proudly at his daughter, who has brought honor to their family despite her exile. Her father said to her, "Ada, you have shown us the strength of your heart, stronger than anything. You are truly a gift to us all." Ada beams, holding her father's hand, her eyes filled with tears of happiness and relief. At nighttime, the villagers prepare a grand celebration in honor of the couples. Drummers beat rhythms of joy, and villagers in colorful attire dance under the stars. Traditional foods were all laid out on woven mats, and everyone celebrates as Ada and Ikenna dance together, holding each other, their smiles radiant as they move to the heartbeat of the drums. The elders watch with satisfaction and give a sign of relief, knowing that the problems the village faced has come to an end, and love has triumphed over jealousy, envy and hate. Ikenna, whispering to Ada as they dance, "We have faced the shadows, Ada, and now we stand in the light." Ada, smiling, leaning close, "As long as we are together, there will always be light." Then the oracle watches the celebration with a subtle smile on her lips as she murmurs a blessing. "May the hearts of this village be rid of the vengeful spirits and the water begin to flow. May the harvest be plenty, the sorrows turn to joy, and illnesses be healed forever. For love is the only force that defies every curse." And so it was. The next morning, the village peace was restored. The river could be heard flowing from afar, filled up with water like it was before, and fishes swimming. The dry vegetation all became green, and everyone rejoiced. They started dancing with joy and excitement. They gathered at the town square, where the chief addressed them, giving them a warning about doing evil, and he used Okoro as an example, a young boy who lost both parents and was taken in by his mother's brother. How wicked and vile he became, that he could plan all these atrocities against his own family and blood, all for what? Said the chief as he shook his head in disappointment. "We, the elders, went to his hut, but we couldn't find him. We wanted to know why he took this path." He then continues to advise the people about kindness. None of them knew what later became of Okoro. They all just assumed he left the village in shame, or was scared of what the villagers would do to him if they got a hold of him, but it did not seem to matter as they didn't care.